Former eXp girly here, and I'm going to share with you the reasons that I joined Real Broker and how it's going so far. So, this was a shock to a lot of the people that knew me because I was a diehard eXp fan. I was there for years. It was all I wanted to talk about because I believed in the company so much, and that's just really what they associated me with. And so, when I moved over to Real Broker, a lot of people were commenting or messaging me that they were shocked. And so I wanted to kind of explain that decision and why I'm really excited, but I'm not going to use this as a video to intentionally bash eXp or any other company. I am just going to share some of the differences though between those two companies because they are the biggest cloud-based model players. And I'm going to just explain my own decision, what caused me to join Real. Let's start with my journey. I've been selling properties for 15 years. I'm also a broker associate and I have owned a brokerage in San Diego in the past. And so that is kind of some important background information because it's one of the reasons that I felt like I was kind of paying too much at eXp, which we will get into. Then, as far as my eXp journey, I was there for 3 years and then I purposefully left the company for 6 months and then came back because I knew that I had to leave for 6 months if I wanted to change uplines. Now, I felt like with the first upline that I joined under, I kind of made that decision very quickly and I just felt like they were not providing any additional value. And then, so for me, even just being a previous broker owner and knowing that I could have a company, I wanted more out of a company that I was hanging my license at. And I felt like $16,000 a year plus monthly fees. It was a lot for not getting any additional value from the sponsoring upline. So I came back under a different upline, which is a really good upline. They have a lot of trainings. I'm still a big fan of my previous sponsor at eXp and a lot of people in that upline specifically. There were some changes at eXp that happened over the last couple of years, and so I'm going to explain that decision. There was one thing that I was seeing a lot that was a little bit disappointing, and I think it's the biggest difference between the two companies. Now, there are major differences in costs associated with being at both of the brokerages, and I will get into that. But I first want to talk about what I think is the largest difference, which is actually the culture. Now, I know a lot of people say culture when it comes to real estate brokerages, and in the past, I was like, well, what do you even mean? What do you mean culture at a real estate brokerage, especially a cloud-based brokerage where most of us work from home? So I now get it because I've experienced it personally. And so this is the cultural difference. At eXp, even when I was in a really good upline that I was happy with, we would have events, we would have trainings online and different things that were awesome. And I would want to share them, but we weren't allowed to share them. Sometimes we could share them with people who are not at eXp because we wanted to invite them to potentially join eXp. But I made friends with a lot of agents who were already at eXp throughout the United States. And I didn't know them before they were at eXp. No hard feelings. It doesn't matter if I wasn't sponsoring them. I still wanted to be friends with them. And so sometimes when I would share like an event or something that I learned, they would be interested in it. And not only could I not invite them into our closed Facebook group where all of the magic was happening, but I also could not share the invitation to things like online trainings because they were already an eXp agent. And I just felt a little bit negative about that. And I feel like that silo culture does tend to cause a lot of fighting. My belief is nobody should be losing a friendship over anything real estate related. Let's just do our job and be kind to everybody. So the main difference when it comes to the culture at Real is they call it One Real because everybody has access to the same things. Whether it is the events, whether it's Real Academy with all of the online trainings, whether it's the buyer playbook or all of the things that they're putting out. So you can make the decision of which sponsor to join under just on your own personal reasons or whatever makes you feel comfortable, knowing that no matter what, you're going to have the same access to everything. And I think that causes less fighting. Now, some of the differences between cost to explain. At eXp, it's an 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap. At Real, it is an 85-15 split with a $12,000 cap. So while $4,000 may not sound super significant to you, to a lot of agents, $4,000 a year is pretty significant. Plus the difference in the monthly fees. So at eXp, you have an $85 a month monthly fee, no matter what. At Real, it is a $750 a year fee that is taken out of your first 3 transactions for the year. So, one comment that I got from a lot of friends and like agents that are moms like me is I heard them say things like, well, I don't sell a lot of properties in the summer. I'm home with my kids. And even though I can afford it, I just kind of like resent the fact that I have to pay $85 a month, even if I don't sell for like 3 months or even 6 months. And so, not having it structured as a monthly fee and also having it be lower is really appealing. The other difference is that I was in eXp Luxury before, which is $2,500 a year. And Real Luxury Division is not only a lot less expensive, but I find that they have more benefits, in my opinion. I want to point out a few things that are just super unique about Real. The first is Real Mortgage. They have set this up to run differently than any other company that I have seen when it comes to a real estate company that has a mortgage division, in a way that I find to be extremely beneficial for the agents and the loan officers. I personally have my mortgage license, but it is not my full time thing. Selling real estate has always been and always will be my full time thing. However, I got it to have a better understanding of real estate, of, just the transactions and getting them done and what to look for and all of that. And I figured I might pick up a refinance here and there because they're super easy. Let's be honest. The way that they have structured their loan company, I would be happy to talk to you about in detail if this is something that you're interested in. But it's basically a perfect setup for people like myself who happen to be interested in doing both and want to make some additional income. Now, there are a lot of big companies that do not even allow you to do mortgages if you are selling real estate. The second is Leo. This is a really cool technology that you see as soon as you log on to kind of the back end of the Real website, which is like your site where you would check things like your revenue share or your current transactions going on, all of that. And you can ask Leo any question and it will guide you to the answer. So while they do have support staff and people who can answer your questions and help you, and I've used them as well already, and they've been very responsive, Leo is extremely fast and it's actually really good. This is what I'm excited about is I have been at companies that have technology for like answering a question, and it's like having AI write a listing description where it's like something that you would look at and you would be like, yeah, a human definitely didn't write that. That was the type of help that I got before. But just check out how easy it is to ask Leo a question. So the first thing that I asked is, where can I find the logo? Like the download of the JPEG and all of that. Directed me to it right away, just boom. And then the second thing I said, let me ask a more complicated question. What I asked is, what are your recommendations to comply with the NAR settlement? And this is the response. It gave me three different things. The first is the link to the NAR objection handling workshop. The second is the NAR settlement and buyer agency breakdown. And the third is a link to the future proofing buyer workshop. And I just click it and literally I can watch the replay right there immediately. They've also come up with a really cool buyer toolkit, and it is basically like a booklet that can walk you through your buyer consultation. The nice thing that I like is that so many agents out there feel like they can get some kind of lovely printed materials and take it to a buyer consultation, but they don't really know what to say. And especially if they're new, but also given that this change is new for everybody in the industry. Within this specific buyer toolkit, Sharon actually walks you through what to say on each page. Now, of course, you can change it and you can make it your own and your personality. Being able to watch that at least gives you the guidance for the key points that you should be pointing out. And then also like what questions might buyers ask and how do you address that? So I find this company to be very forward thinking. So 3 of the agents on my downline approached me within like 1 week asking for my opinion of Real. And I didn't have a solid answer. I wanted to really do a lot of research before I could tell them an opinion. They wanted to still work with me as far as the leadership, basically, because I always answer my phone and I help agents and I'm happy to guide them as far as like those tough conversations or strategizing with them. But a lot of them were like really excited because they heard the fees are lower and all of that. And so they wanted my opinion. So I didn't want to just randomly message one person online and get one experience. I talked to multiple agents within Real, and then I went directly to the leadership. I'm not recommending that you necessarily do that because they might be bombarded, but I'm just honestly telling you my experience. I messaged Sharon. He was awesome. I then got on the phone and had a long conversation with Miles, the VP of the company. I then had a Zoom with the director of the mortgage division, and I then had multiple Zooms with the director of the luxury division, Kofi Nardi, who is my sponsor. I'm really, really excited about that partnership and about what I can learn from him, because even after selling properties for 15 years and being in the luxury division, I comfortably sell $1 to $3 million properties and up, but he is a guy that sells $25 million properties and up on a regular basis. I'm really excited about that partnership. So, how is it going so far? Honestly, with any company, there's going to be a bit of growing pains and just setting things up, like all of your new passwords and ordering the hanging signs, the for sale signs, ordering the open house signs, and changing all of your social media and this and that. So, it's been busy, if I'm honest, but nothing has been too confusing. Everybody has been really nice. One thing that I will say that's an interesting experience is that I've had so many agents at Real reach out to me who I am not like on their downline. So they don't stand to benefit from me financially, but they've just been so kind. Whether it was messages online, whether it was comments online, or even I got a few phone calls, and these are agents that are already with Real and they're just like being so kind and congratulating me. I did have a few snarky remarks from agents at eXp, not my sponsor, but just like eXp agents, and I wasn't talking any negative thing about eXp, just that I had moved. That's all. Now, don't take that out on the company as a whole. That's one thing I always say, is just because an agent acts a certain way doesn't mean the whole company is going to be that way. But I don't know. I guess I found it interesting how nice people were being at Real, and that really does come back to that culture of like work hard, be kind, that I'm a big fan of. As I mentioned, I definitely believe that you should not blame an entire company for what 1 or 2 or 3 agents do if they are bad people. When you have a company of 20,000 or even 80,000 people, you're bound to have some bad apples. So, but I do want to say, when the news of the crimes that had been committed by some of the eXp agents happened and it got all over the news, I definitely did not blame eXp for it. And it was something really sad to see. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can message me privately. But it was more of like the aftermath. What I would have preferred to happen would have been like directly addressing it. So like making a statement and saying, this is what happened and we have fired these individuals immediately and we don't stand for this and this and that. And we didn't really see that. It was more just like we saw news articles come and go. Whereas at the last Real convention, when Sharon came onto the stage, he really made a big deal of the culture of kindness, and we don't stand for that. We don't treat people like that. If you see something, say something. And I just really appreciate that as a side note. So back to how it's going. I have my first 2 Real Broker closings next week on some of my listings, and I will update you as time goes by. I'll continuously update you. But if you have any questions about Real Broker, feel free to reach out to me. My info is here. You can comment, leave a message, or just call or text me. That's probably the fastest way. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And thanks for watching.